So we're going to talk about some practical stuff, some tips, but let me start with a story. So this morning, I walked into a Lidl in Dublin, and actually it's quite a nice one. It's got some historic stuff underneath the floor, but I walked in and I grabbed a coffee, a paper, a donut, some other things, and I walked out. Like, didn't think anything of it, and I just walked out. This guy, Powell, came up to me, the manager, and he said, "Hey, you've got to pay for that stuff." And I was like, "I'm in Ireland for 7 days, chill out." I thought 7-day payment terms was actually going to be a good thing. Yeah, why not? What's the problem, Powell? And I said, what if I don't even like the coffee? What if, I read the articles and I don't like the articles? Yeah, maybe I won't pay full price. Who's right? Who's right in this situation? Should I have paid before I left the store? Powell's right, of course. It's a crime. You can't take things from the store without paying for them. Yeah, that's illegal. You can't do that. So there's some consequences that should occur. But doesn't that make us all criminals? Aren't we hypocrites? Like, our average payment is 75 days in our industry. 75 days? Like, imagine if I said that to Powell. No, I'm not going to pay you for 75 days. He didn't like it anyway. Does that make us criminals? Well, maybe, because a lot of businesses are impacted by this. Yeah, if you've got a small or medium-sized business, cash flow is super important, and it leads to project overruns and delays and a whole bunch of unnecessary friction. And actually, most of our industry is small and medium-sized businesses. So we're all affected pretty seriously, and this puts people out of business. So why are these two situations different? Why me getting a coffee and not paying for it for 7 days, and the AEC industry saying it's okay to wait for 75 days? Why are they two different situations? Because when you're in a store, it's like a product. There's a list of ingredients. We know exactly what we're getting. We know exactly how much it should cost. It's a transaction. It's something that happens so many times, and it's so easy and understandable. But it's different for us, right? Our industry is different. Every project is unique. We can't always define the ingredients clearly. The costs are all estimated. Everything is just, changing, yeah? I think that's, excuse my French, no, a load of baloney, keeping it. Because we shouldn't be okay with 75 days. Yeah, we shouldn't be okay with this crime that's occurring. Or even 90 days, some people. We should say no. So how about no? Who's with me? Who would say, screw that? Yeah, I love it. How about no? Because your tasks are critical. What you're doing is the global economy. Yeah, we are the biggest $16 trillion industry. We're people that put roofs over people's heads, sea defenses, roads, and the whole infrastructure, yeah, a roof over somebody's head. This is important stuff. So how can we fix it? And this is to the 5 practical steps. Is it even possible in our industry? Is it even probable for us to be able to do this? These are the 5 tips that I'm going to share. They are in somewhat quite ambitious, but they are possible. So the first one is, let's stop using Word documents, waiting for a long time for approval, sending it as a PDF, expecting somebody to read it or reply to it or some way understand it. Let's have a more proactive and continuously agreed process, rather than it being something that waits till it's too late and then becomes contract and always becomes only a problem when it's too late, when it's actually we need to look what the contract said. Let's make sure that everyone understands, and it's a more proactive approach. The second one is, let's not have ambiguous requirements. Let's not say, I need forgive me for using them, an LOD 300 model or something like that. Let's be clear. Let's use a framework like level of information need. Let's make it simple. Let's make it so that we can actually have a structured requirement that you can say yes or you can say no. Did it actually meet that or not? It will eliminate a huge amount of ambiguity and the risk and errors and the rework that actually is rife inside of our industry. So clear requirements. Let's also not have a whole bunch of repetitive work. Let's not put the same file in so many different places. Let's understand the concept of a CDE, put it in the right place, and connect it into the other areas. So instead of having a deliverable that is completely disconnected from the work that has already been contracted, let's allow you to connect the deliverable to the task in a way that promotes that transparency, in a way that can be managed, in a way that's connected, this concept of a connected CDE. Let's also not wait until you've got thousands of clashes or thousands of errors or thousands of issues. Let's not wait, let's be proactive. Let's have an opportunity for the person who submits the deliverable to actually know whether it's going to be accepted or not, because we've set up clear requirements, they're completely clear, we understand whether it's going to be a green light or a red light, and we're only going to submit something personally from that supply team because we know that it's all going to turn green in the model. That is autonomous quality control, allowing the right teams to self-check their work prior to submission. And in our industry, people only do work for two reasons. One, because it's in the contract, and two, because they're going to get paid for it. Unfortunately, if the contract feels so disconnected and the payment is so disconnected from the actual work, it means there's no incentive. We don't maximize the potential for gamification or instant gratification. So if we were able to do all of those other four things and set it up so that we could instantly pay based on completion of a task, wouldn't the system be a lot more liquid, a lot more optimal, a lot easier, and less of those small and medium-sized businesses would have restricted cash flow and go out of business? So these 5 things are pretty big in their own right, but there are solutions to help us with proactive agreements, clear information requirements, connected CDE, autonomous quality. There are individual solutions around the world that we can use to do that. The micropayments can only happen if you've got all of the rest of these in the right place, in place at the time. So, how do we have a strategy for this? What are we doing? What's the micropayment side of things? Well, the challenge is that today we pay based on milestones. It's so abstracted from the set of tasks that we're working on, and we haven't usually got connected delivery, so what we're talking about autonomous quality, and we haven't got a way to make that so liquid and repeatable, and the outcome being quicker completion because everyone gets paid for what they do. So this whole workflow, there's some problems. What are the main challenges to implementing micropayments and the rest of this workflow? Our industry, brilliant tools, Word and Excel, yeah? Excel is the go-to tool for so many reasons, but it's not dedicated to AEC, it's not a database, it gets more and more complex and becomes more and more difficult to automate the workflow. It's not a machine-readable information delivery specification IDS. It's not easy to do it in using those tools. And the other one is the antiquated billing system. Everyone's okay. And how many people still send checks and receive checks? It sucks, yeah? People have to manage that whole workflow, and it is completely unnecessary. We must modernize. So, this is the plug. At Plannerly, we have said, we've got the templates, we've built the requirements, we've got it in smart contracts, we've got autonomous checking, but now, really to move the needle in our industry, micropayments, that's what we need. We need to not wait months for millions of euro, dollar, pound, yens to be delivered based on an antiquated system and maybe somebody presenting a check. We need to, when I do my task, I know that I've got a green light, and as soon as somebody says, I verify you've done that, it should transact a micropayment for that. Secure, 0 days for payment. So if we were to put all these 5 things in place, I believe that the world would be better for AEC. I believe that 90%, 95% of the companies would have a better life experience. There wouldn't be the problem of potentially a lot of people going out of business. So this is my 5, they are my 5 tips for how we can optimize this workflow. We're actually looking for people, pioneers, and if you think that this could be interesting for you, please connect, because it's something that we need to work with a lot of teams in industry. There's actually a major government association that we're working with in Australia that is super interested in putting this in place. We're actually looking for the low end where consultants are building, whether they're doing services or modeling or anything. We think that that's the easiest way to get in the door. So if you know anyone that actually wants to get paid on time, refer them. Thank you very much. We love being in Ireland. Appreciate you guys.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere, because you were even faster than us. We're way ahead of schedule. Questions for Clive? Come on, come up. Questions for Clive about micropayments. Oh, yes, Helen.
Hello. Yeah, so this is something that we've checked those previous boxes, and we're now working to get beta customers to do the micropayments piece. So are we doing it live now? No, this is a call for action, and if you're interested, we'd love to talk with you. We think that, so imagine that 75-day period that a big company says this is what gives us cash days and this is what makes us profitable, and the reason why we have accounting teams and everything, payment prevention teams and a whole bunch of other people inside of their organizations is to basically facilitate that. But imagine if you transferred that to the subcontracting teams and the subcontractors said, do you know what? I give you 5% discount because you pay me instantly for all of my work. Everyone's happy, everyone wins. And we think that that's possible, so yeah, we're early doors, but we've got the infrastructure, we've done the boring stuff so that that's in place. We know exactly what the task is, who needs to do it, what they need to do, how much, when they need to deliver it, and then there's the verification piece in place. So it's the simple thing now, but it's the exciting part is transact that payment. Rather than waiting for that big $1 million check, let's make it a $700, euro, dollar, pound, yens, at that point in time, instantly. So I suppose that was a no. An enthusiastic no. Yeah. So that's an interesting thing, yeah. So
I'll just go back again.
Okay, yeah.
So going back to your little presentation about the cup of coffee that you didn't pay for.
That was a joke, please. Like, nobody come after me. That was sort of, yeah.
But given that you want to pay on a micro business perspective and the same experience that you have in Lidl, isn't it the time that the industry started using QR codes and auto ID on different products all the way through the full life cycle, which is of use during the operation phase as well for collecting information with respect to that product, whether it performs to the operational carbon metrics that were originally put in the design valuation. But from a payment perspective, the guy has his mobile device, he scans the product that's part of that activity, he scans the last window that was installed as agreed with the last planner session. Now you know that activity is finished, and then you go into your micropayment solution, and it says this activity started. It's proof, just like in your little experience that you went to the checkout with your cup of coffee and the barcode is read. Mm-hmm. And then when the activity's last window is fitted, the activity is finished, pay the guy.
So, yes, and more, potentially.
A lot more.
Yeah, so the challenge is that this is a simple problem, but a complex problem at the same time, because what about, so you talk about a door, and the door has to be spec'd, it has to be designed, it has to be procured, it has to be installed, it has to be, and different people might get, it's the same door, so it's the same thing that we can track from early thought to in-place work and life cycle. So tracking it is important in one system, or in like understanding which exact piece of whatever that is, but it goes through those different statuses. And at some point you might want to, for somebody say, oh, we'll give you 10% when you procure that door. And all you have to do is tell us, move this card and say it's been procured. Imagine that was automatically giving the person that procured it that 10% of whatever that payment was. And then, when somebody verifies that it's installed to their quality level, and what I love about this one is, and you mentioned last planner, and so from lean concepts, work is only good and for the next person if it's complete. And if I'm the project manager and I'm the one that has to go around and check all the doors, and like, it's my job, I actually think that that's the completely wrong person that should be doing it. And if we could if the whole system could understand and the right person was responsible, it would be the next person in line. So what's the trade after that? I don't know. Is there, so the door goes in and then there's ironmongery that might go onto the door, yeah? And only that team that's going to put that in they would be the ones responsible for saying, yes, the previous task was complete, and that would initiate the payment for it. So imagine if the system did all of that for you, and they would be the most important person for saying whether yes, it's ready or no, it's not. Because if they were disrupted in their work, that would mean impact, that would mean cost, that would mean, yeah. So RFID tracking, yeah, there's an important...
It goes back to digital product passports, which is coming in under CPR in Europe, plus GS1 barcodes, same barcode that's used in a box of cornflakes in your little experience again.
Right.
So therefore, you are tracking all the way through. And then if you digitize your specifications and your Irish standards and your BS standards and your international ASTM standards, etc., then now you've got everything digitized. And now your guy, at the end of the day, as you said earlier, it's all about getting paid. They get paid for doing a quality job that is compliant with the specification, and all the boxes have been ticked in a frictionless manner, no paperwork, all the way through, just like your experience in the little supermarket where you paid for the coffee.
I'm an honest guy.
Any other questions? Any other questions for Clive? Another hand.
Come see me, I'll bend your ear about payment, well, micropayments, and yeah. We're on the booth over there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.